Alright, what is up everyone? I'm here to bring you a very important update on Ethereum. This video is going to be jam-packed with a lot of knowledge. I'm going to fight the urge to speak quickly because there's a lot to talk about here. So in this video, I'm going to run through some technical analysis, talk about what I see happening both short-term and long-term, and mention some immensely game-changing news for Ethereum. So before we delve into the technicals and some on-chain metrics, I really want to mention this new piece of news. I gotta get it off my chest. Folks, massive update to Ethereum and Ethereum scaling. Scaling is set to come for Ethereum in March. Optimism announces mainnet launch. This is a giant deal for Ethereum. Optimism is set to launch next month. What is Optimism? Well, Optimism is a layer 2 scaling solution for Ethereum. Okay, it uses optimistic rollups to achieve lower fees and latency, as well greater throughput compared to L1 alone. So what does this mean? While everyone's been complaining, and rightly so, about Ethereum gas fees and how congested and clogged the network is, it truly has been, folks. To make trades on Uniswap has been absolutely insane. Anywhere from like $50 to $150. I mean, I was even trying to get into some coins when they launched, and there was gas fees in the hundreds of dollars per trade. Absolutely insane. This is why we're seeing things like Binance Smart Chain start to take off. Binance BNB is absolutely exploding. Things like PancakeSwap are absolutely exploding. But now that we have optimistic rollups set to start to roll out this next month, this is a giant deal for Ethereum. Okay, so right here, they're saying that once optimistic rollups are rolled out, Ethereum will be able to process thousands of transactions in comparison to today's tens of transactions per second. And Ethereum 2.0 aims to make Ethereum highly scalable and have it make transactions up to 100,000 transactions per second. So lots of interesting things happening, folks, as well. We have another major catalyst for Ethereum. April 15th is when the Berlin hard fork is set to launch, which will further aim to improve efficiencies with gas fees and the Ethereum virtual machine. So we have tons of giant catalysts for Ethereum, just a few short weeks and months away. And folks, I really don't think people are ready, and people don't understand what a giant deal this is for Ethereum. Okay, look, all these projects that are doing amazing that I love, like Cardano and Polkadot and Elrond, they're all essentially trying to do what Ethereum 2.0 is trying to do, which is they're trying to be the smart contract platform that everyone uses, that's scalable and interoperable. Okay, and that's what Ethereum is, and that's what Ethereum 2.0 is trying to be. And the reason why I'm so bullish on Ethereum is because Ethereum has an advantage over all those other projects, because Ethereum has all the users, all the developers, everything's built, the vast majority of the space is built on it. So Ethereum is by far leaps and bounds ahead of the rest of the pack, and one of the biggest updates on Ethereum 2.0 is set to roll out this March that aims to improve gas fees. Folks, this is a giant thing, deal for Ethereum. This is a massive catalyst. Now, while that is the case, I don't want to make this video to say that Ethereum's going to go to the moon tomorrow, because that's not what I think is likely. In fact, what I think is most likely is that we perhaps see further correcting. This price structure looks weak, and we're going to take a look at our indicators. But before we do, I also want to mention another very interesting piece of news here, which is Ethereum on exchanges. Typically speaking, whenever there's a massive spike in Ethereum moving onto exchanges, that typically means, or what it could mean, that there will be increased selling pressure on the market, because there's more Ethereum on exchanges, more selling pressure, more circulating supply. Therefore, price can go down, and we're seeing it. We're making lower highs and lower lows. The price structure does look weak for Ethereum. So while we do have a massive catalyst set to launch sometime in March, in the short term here, I think Ethereum may correct further, which is a great thing. You should consider that a blessing, because you'd be buying into a project in a market that's never looked fundamentally stronger long term, and has a massive catalyst just a few weeks, a month or so away. So let's take a look at our indicators and get a sense of what is going on with Ethereum. Looking at the daily here, everything's going down on the daily except the stochastic RSI. The stochastic RSI is the only thing that looks bullish. Stochastic RSI, for those who don't know, is great for identifying when we're going to have a shift in the trend. And given that it's in the oversold region like this and seems to be having a bullish crossover, we could experience potentially a bit of a leg up with Ethereum potentially here, but let's keep looking. 12-hour, yeah, 12-hour looks bearish, except look at that weighted MACD bullish crossover. Stochastic RSI did not want to go up. RSI is in the oversold region, so I mean, only kind of bullish thing here is the weighted MACD. Weighted MACD acts as a leading indicator on the regular MACD. So 12-hour, I'd say, you know, it looks weak. We're seeing some strength. It's not very convincing. Let's take a look at the 6. 6-hour does not want to go up. Look at that. We tried to have a bullish crossover, could not. Weighted MACD was trying to enter the overbought region, could not. Stochastic RSI trying to have that leg up, cannot. Looks bearish. Yeah, this looks bearish. Very bearish, folks. I'm trying to, yeah. So 6-hour not looking too hot. Let's take a look at the 2. 2-hour, yeah, same story. Still on the way down with the 2-hour. And let's look at the 1 hour. Everything is still on the way down. Let's take a look at the half-hour. Okay, yeah, half-hour. Starting to see some strength here. Weighted MACD on the way up. Regular MACD on the way up. RSI having a bit of a leg down. And let's take a look at the 15. Okay, yeah, 15 might have a bit of a leg up here. So just to summarize here, folks, you know, we're seeing a lot of weakness with Ethereum. We're trying to go up. We're trying to have these bullish crossovers, but they don't have much carry through. They don't have much strength. So ultimately, while we may have a tiny bit of a leg up here, I'm not seeing a whole lot of strength. We may continue consolidating and correcting, especially given that we probably have a large spike of selling pressure on exchanges for Ethereum. I think the short term for Ethereum probably is going to continue to look bearish, and we're probably in store for a little bit more of consolidation in the short term. But that is just the short term, folks. Over the long term, I think Ethereum has an amazing chance of doing extremely well. If we look at the Ethereum Bitcoin pair, I think this is going to be a good chart to look at and try to gauge what Ethereum could do. I think it's a good chart to try and gauge hidden bullish and bearish divergence for Ethereum. So we're right up against a significant support region for Ethereum, that being kind of from the, I'd say, 3.1 to the 2.9 region, and right below significant resistance from, I'd say, 3.45 to, I'd say, 3.53. Okay, this region acting as resistance, that region there, that green box acting as support. So I think for the Ethereum Bitcoin pair, we're just going to range bound between these two areas here. So whatever way we break out of these two areas, I think we're likely to trend in that direction for quite some time. So if we break down from this region, I think we're having another leg down to kind of this region here, kind of 2.6 to 2.4. And if we break out bullishly, I think then we're kind of retesting 3.75 to, I'd say, 3.86, somewhere around these regions here. So understanding what the next major move is on the Ethereum Bitcoin pair, I think will be very telling for the next movement that Ethereum has on the US dollar value. And as well, before I forget, I wanted to bring up I think the 2-hour here is probably most helpful. I think we can draw a resistance line that will be helpful for trying to understand when Ethereum is likely to have a bit of a move up. So yeah, look, I think something like this is probably pretty valid, where maybe we're likely to have a bit more consolidation, a bit more of a leg down, and kind of mess around in these regions. As soon as we get bullish divergence above this resistance line on the RSI on the 2-hour here, I think that's when Ethereum has its next leg up here. So perhaps something like this is likely until we break out, maybe, you know, get rejected off these levels, go for a bit of a leg down, and then go back up like that. I think once we start to see something like this, I think that is when we're going to see Ethereum have a leg up in price action. So that's what I'm kind of looking out for, to try and understand when Ethereum could start to break out bullishly in the short term here. And look, over the long term, to try to understand what Ethereum could do over the long term, it's a very, very helpful chart to look at the Ethereum Bitcoin pair, because if we zoom out and look what happened last cycle here, if the chart will cooperate, we see that last time around, Ethereum reached over 12% of Bitcoin's price at the peak last cycle. So if we just assume that Ethereum has a good chance of reaching about 10% of Bitcoin's price this cycle, well, that means that I think Ethereum has a good chance of reaching roughly 10% of whatever Bitcoin does this time around. So if Bitcoin goes to 100,000, I think Ethereum's destined to go to 10,000 at the peak by the end of this bull run. If Bitcoin goes to 300,000, then I think Ethereum has a very good chance of reaching $30,000 by the peak of this bull run. And folks, look, I know there's probably not a lot of hype behind Ethereum right now, and there's a lot of hype behind Binance Smart Chain and PancakeSwap, but folks, you don't want to be chasing what's already pumped. You want to be buying into something that's crashing, nobody wants to touch, there's no hype behind, and people think it's the sky is falling. That's where the most return on investment potential is. Be greedy when people are fearful, and be fearful when people are greedy. Ethereum has had a massive correction. A lot of stuff hasn't. A lot of stuff did have a correction and has recovered. In terms of like even return on investment potential as a swing trade here, folks, I think Ethereum over the next month or two has a very good chance of reaching its all-time highs and surpassing it over the next few short months here, given that we have a major catalyst for Ethereum rolling out sometime in March. Again, I'm not saying tomorrow or even this week that Ethereum is going to perform well, but over the next month or two, I think Ethereum has a very good chance of reaching its all-time highs at $2,000 and surpassing it. So, yeah, folks, look, those are my thoughts with Ethereum. These are the kind of some critical support levels. If this doesn't hold, I think our next major support is like 1360 to 1320. Aside from that, 1265 to 1200. If we can just hover on the Ethereum price action for a second, I think it was the 8-hour that I think is the most helpful chart to look at. Yeah, so look, if kind of 1440, if this area doesn't hold, I think we probably have a good chance of retesting the 200 EMA here on the 8-hour. When we pumped and dumped, that is where we found support, so I think retesting that could make some sense. We have a lot of volume building up from 1350 to 1300. I think it's personally very unlikely that Ethereum doesn't fall. I think it's very unlikely that Ethereum falls below these levels, to be honest. Although it is technically 100% possible. And look, if Ethereum falls down to the 200 EMA on the 8-hour, which is currently at like 1380, 1390, I would consider that the blessing of a lifetime, and that is definitely where I would be looking to place my buy orders and dollar cost average my way into Ethereum. Because if even as a swing trade, even if you were just to hold 1 or 2 months, with one of the biggest catalysts for Ethereum ever, one of the biggest developments for Ethereum ever, rolling out sometime in March, I don't think this downtrend is going to be very long-lived. That is just my opinion, folks. I could be wrong. Thank you for watching. Take care.